Hi, my name is Reza Abraham. I'm the MBA graduate in the year 2009, and I have completed my PhD back in 2018. And both of them has been from the Faculty of Creative Multimedia, FCM. And currently, I'm the co-founder of InControl Group, an organizations with a vision to help more people from all around the world to be in control of their life and career. Design, create, publish books and education materials in order to help people to become in control of their life and career in the different areas. And also at the same time, we are doing management consultancy for most organizations from all around the world, and we have companies from US, Europe, Asia. We are focusing a lot on leadership development for these organizations, and also at the same time, it's a very different type of courses, and which is training or consultancy services as well. When it comes to inspiration, it is most of the times is the people that you lived with and work with that always gives you the inspiration of becoming who we are as a person. And for me, when I first started my own journey as what we call that as a consultant and a trainer, so I have always met people that they really great at what they're doing, but they don't really love what they do, or they don't love who they are doing it with, or they are doing it for. So this has been a great realization for me, and that's where the whole In Control journey came in. So when I wrote the book In Control, the purpose of it and establishing the company is to help people to live a life where they love what they do, they love who they're doing it with, they love who they are doing it for, and they love how are they doing it. It means how long you do it, where you do it, when you do it. So for most people, they're always thinking that, is that even possible? And that's exactly where the In Control concept comes in, because it's all about becoming conscious that, hey, there is such a life actually available. There are people who are living such a life. They're really in love with what they're doing. And once you get through that, you start to realize that, hey, I don't need to motivate myself. I don't need to think like, oh, how am I gonna go through my life? And the whole passion will comes out, yeah? And that is exactly the inspirations that I had. So I had an opportunity to talk to some people who are living an in control life. It means that they're really in love with what they're doing it. They love who they're doing it with, who they're doing it for, and how they're doing it. So I'm in a journey of teaching people how to get there. Okay, so what we have achieved so far is that we started the company quite recently. And before that, of course, I was working with a number of other organizations as well. But right now, what we have, the biggest things that we have, we got our book out. So the book is available in 33 platforms, all bookstores. It's available in almost 18 countries, and also being translated currently in 2 other languages as well. So that is something that when we started the organizations, the first things we wanted to get out was having a book, because having something that people can refer back to it is like really important. If we want to go around and talk to people, it might take a very long time, but having a book, it will help in terms of spreading the message faster. So that was the first things that for this year, we are planning to have, like, for example, the In Control Planner, In Control Workbook, In Control Cards, In Control Game, So there are a number of things that we are trying to develop around that, and we're very excited about it. And I would say, like, it's living an in control or working an in control life. It's a progressive journey. Yeah, so it's not about like, okay, so we have achieved this and our job is already done. It's just the start. It's really the beginning of like how far we can go and how much we can actually explore the whole market and touching people's life, at the end of the day. So we started the business somewhere around like 2 to 3 years ago. And before that, of course, we've been working in a number of organizations. So when we first started the whole journey of InControl, we felt that it must be something that people can actually refer back to it. And that's where the whole idea of the book came out, you know. So we wanted to write a book so that people can actually refer back to it, and it can work as a, what we call that, as a stepping stone to get a lot of other things done, yeah? So the writing of the book itself, it took like about 2 years. Yeah, it's like, you know, unlike what most people think, writing a book is a very, very hard job to do. And that's exactly the whole point, because you don't want to fail because you did not work hard, yeah? So we work very hard and make sure the products that is out, it's something that is at the international level. And we work with a lot of, like, you know, publishers and organizations from all the way from US, you know, to make sure the book is really at the level that it can go very far. Our goal when we came up with the whole InControl model was not to make sure it just settled down in Malaysia. We wanted to become an international thing. So the book is out now. That is like something that we are very proud of it as a team. And we are also in the process of doing the InControl planner. We're gonna have like InControl workbook. We're gonna have an InControl cards, InControl board games. So there are a number of things that is in the pipeline to develop as well at the same time. So all these things will come together to create an ecosystem of like how we can help and people to become in control of their life and career. And also at the same time, we can touch as many people's life as you can. See, the role of education, it's very important because it lays the foundation of who you are as a person, and that's very important. Going to university is one thing, but who you become as a result of going to the university is the most important things. So education, although a lot of people are thinking like, you know, oh, you don't need to go to university in order to achieve certain things. All you need to do, you just need to hustle, you just need to work very hard, right? I agree with that, but I also believe that what the education does is the people that you meet during the university time, the supports that you can get from some of the lecturers, like I am who I am because of some of the lecturers who has really, really inspired me and helped me out, you know. When I got my first opportunities out there, it was all through like the connections that some of the lecturers had for me. You know, so they helped me, they sponsored me, they supported me to go out and meet some people. And that was very important, because if it wasn't because of that, especially for an international students in a new country, it was very difficult for us to do it. And I didn't have those networks when I first came. So having the connection, having the resources, it laid the foundation of who you can become as a person. And that is the goal. The goal is not just to go to university. The goal is the access that you have to certain resources and the people who can actually push you all the way up. Most people, they always come across this message that they say like, you know, you don't need to work hard. You just need to work smart, yeah? And that is a very cliche answer. Frankly speaking, for the last 15 years, which I have been working with a lot of like successful individuals and being in a capacity of a consultant, management consultant in many organizations, I have never met anyone who just works smart and become someone, yeah? Even if you speak with like very, very successful people, they will always tell you that you gotta work super duper hard and you need to be smart, yeah? So where the smartness comes from, it's by finding people who can help you to make better decisions. It means mentors, yeah? So the challenges that I had in the beginning of my own career was that, so you would be judged by a lot of people. People look down on you, you know, they might be thinking that you're not good enough, you know, why should I trust you? And this is what I learned. So in business, there is a term called golden triangle of networking and business. People will only do business with someone whom they know, whom they like, and whom they trust. So the biggest challenge for every one of us, whether you are a new graduate or you have like some even experience, is always to go through this process of like know, like, and trust. So knowing part is something that it's the biggest challenge for most people, because not everybody has that connection in the beginning of their business, yeah, or whatever they want to do. So this is something that I have a struggle with. And I managed to get to certain opportunities because of the support that I get, for example, from some of my lecturers, you know, some of the people that I knew. And I tell you something, I do currently exact same thing whenever I meet some young graduates, you know, that I get to know them. So whenever they come to me and through like LinkedIn or something, they say like, you know, I really want to go as an internship, you know, where should I go? So if I have that capacity to help them connect them to any of the organizations, like big organizations from PwC, KPMG, Maybank, you know, Shell, I will do that. I'll straight away do that for them because this is what I have gone through. Yeah, so that was my very first challenge. So people need to go out and network because that's always the most important part. Your network is your net worth. The more people you know, the easier this path will get. So the biggest challenge, number one, is always getting to know people. And that's very difficult. It's time consuming, you know, we wouldn't be able to get there like immediately because it takes time, yeah. But as long as you're willing to do the work, as long as you're willing to work hard for it, you will be able to get through it, yeah? And currently, if you want to look at it like, you know, some of the current challenges that we are facing is, of course, this is how I always put the challenges based on what we share in InControl. Challenges are always two types. One group of them, which you can control, and we need to take full responsibility for those kind of challenges. But there are some challenges that we can't control. Yeah, so we don't use it as an apology and we don't apologize for those kind of things. Let me give you an example to understand that. So some of these challenges is out of our control. For example, like what's happening right now with the COVID. Yeah, so COVID is something that is not within our control. We can't do anything about it apparently, right? But there are certain things that is within our control. For example, like learning new skills, going out and meet more people, adapting yourself to new techniques and methods, reading books, you know, these are some of the things that is within our control. We can actually overcome certain challenges by just focusing on the things and taking full responsibility for the things that we can control and just let go of the things that you can't control it and let it be. I mean, you can't do anything about it, right? We can't control COVID. We can't control the government, yeah? We can't control certain decisions by our customers or other business owners, yeah? But what we can control is our effort, our hard working, our discipline, our attitude, our mindset, the goal setting, all those things, which is something that we can control. And once you have this judgment of which one is within my control, which one is out of my control, you would be able to overcome any challenges. It's just a matter of time. So writing has never been my strength. I have been pretty good at communicating and presenting to people. So that was my strength for a very, very long time. So what drives me to write the book was that the fact that when I meet people, when I do, for example, like, you know, a training program or talking in front of like, you know, 5,000 people, and it happened to me like very, very often, people always come to you and say that, great, awesome, I love it, you know, I'm so inspired, you know, thank you for this one, thank you for that one. So they connect with you. And then what will happen is that a few months later, people just forget. You know, everything's just gone, you know, because, and I know some people will say like, oh, my memory is very good. Okay, don't trust your memory. We all forget stuff. So the fact that I found a lot of people are forgetting what they have learned was driving me to the point that why not I put down the things that help me to become who I am in one place so that I can actually pass it to them. Yeah. So the goal of the writing a book, I mean, any authors who is like listening to this video as well, that can confirm that you don't make ton of money. It's not a business by itself, unless you are a full-time author. I'm not a full-time author, and I don't want to be a full-time author, but it's something that I'm very passionate about it. So I have changed. My thought was really changed, and I needed to step up because I didn't really enjoy writing. I was involved in writing many times, you know. I co-authored a couple of books before this. But when I was writing the whole things, which is like 375 pages, yeah, so it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. And I needed to build something. So you pointed out just now about like a personality, yeah, what needed to change. And this is what I've changed in me. When I started to write the book, it took me 1 year to write this book, but it wasn't just an ordinary writing style. It's a writing style that I learned it from James Clear, the author of the book called Atomic Habits. So he said that if you really want to make something change in your life, you got to build a very strong discipline. And the way the discipline works is that you need to have a tracker, and you have to track your own development. You have to track your own discipline every single day. So I came up with this 10 weeks table, and I was writing every single day. I wake up at 6 o'clock, I write until 7, and then my day starts. And I swear to God that I did not even miss one day, not even a weekend, not even a birthday, not even like for any other occasions. It was a daily writing every single day. And I tell you something, that was one of the biggest change that I needed to make on myself, you know? So every day I wake up at 6 o'clock, I write until 7 o'clock, and I go back and tick. So when you do it, here's the very interesting things. You know, most of us, we are thinking that, oh, you want to build a habit? You just need to do it for 21 days. That's a very old way of saying it. But that study actually, it's from Stanford University back in 1950 or something. It's a very old study, you know. It doesn't work in today's environment. Today, we are thinking about, you got to do it at least for 10 weeks. It means 77 days. Yeah? But here's the thing. Once you reach the 77 days, you will notice that you feel extremely guilty if you don't continue it. And that's what happened to me. So when I was tracking myself for the first 77 days, yeah, so every day when I was ticking, I still have that table with me, you know. And now I use the same technique if I want to build another discipline. Like, for example, I used to get very angry at my son at night, you know, because, you know, whenever he wanted to brush his teeth, it was like, you know, make the whole place wet, you know, and I noticed that I'm getting angry at him every single day. So I promised myself that I'm not going to get angry at him. So I put the same tracker there, and I started to track how many days I managed to stay not angry at him. So I used the same discipline of writing the book for other habits as well. So talking about changing in your personality, yes, writing was not my expertise, yeah. I built a habit, I got a writing coach, you know, I started to read about how people basically write books. Then I also needed a very strong discipline, which I didn't have it back then. But now I have it, and I'm using the same technique on achieving different goals. I think thinking about MMU, my favorite place when we first came to MMU, when we first started our journey in Malaysia, my favorite place was always the library, Siti Hasma Library. So, and then like sometimes, you know, at nights until like morning, we were like sleeping in MMU, and inside the library, that environment, the cold things there. So that's always my favorite one, because you know, the journey of growth and happiness was always around that area. So that is something that is like, I never forget it. So all those nights that, you know, we stay awake, because I'm not a very night person. I'm not a night owl, you know, so I'm a very morning person. But sitting down with other students and in one place with one goal, and then all those problem solvings that we used to do together, the case studies and all those stuff. So it really helps in terms of like building your resilience to become who you are. And yeah, I think I'll go with that. That's the best memory.
Would you like to comment?
So when we first came to MMU, a lot of people was asking us like, so what is MMU is all about, right? And the name of the university is like Multimedia University, right? And I think one of the things that impacted me, and I also have seen quite common between other students who came from MMU, is they are more digital savvy, and they are quite receptive to multimedia when it comes to, and whatever field they are. I mean, maybe I'm biased because I'm from MMU too, but this is something that I have seen. Like, I have friends who are MMU graduates, and now they are like auditor, and they are working, let's say, in KPMG, friends, yeah. But when you talk to them, they're still quite like, digital savvy, and they are not like very old school of looking at things. Maybe that's common among MMU students. I wouldn't know how accurate is my answer, but could be. I think the best advice that I wish somebody would have given me when I was in my early 20s is that there are few basically I can think of right now. So number one, the most important advice is something that it took me a very long time to understand this, yeah? Is that you gotta do what you love. You gotta love who are you doing it with. You gotta love who are you doing it for, and you gotta love how are you doing it. And I'm not saying it again in a very cheesy, like you gotta love things and so on. I really mean it when I say that, because there is a huge difference between doing something that you truly love and the people that you truly love to do it with and for them than not loving it. So I always tell people, the day that you don't really love what you're doing and you can't honor the people that you're doing the work with is the day that you need to leave that place, yeah? So being decisive on that is very important, because I meet a lot of young people. I meet a lot of C-suites from different organizations that they don't really love what they do. And they're just there because of the commitment that they have. And they stay and complain. So don't stay and complain. Pursue what you really love to do. And I really mean it when I say that. How? Read the book. so that's one of the easiest way to say. The second lessons that it's really changed my life is having mentors. I met a lot of like smart people, and I have met even students who come and told me that, hey, why do you need to have a mentors? Use your guts. I mean, is that how you learn like English? How to conjugate the verbs, did you use your guts to learn that? We definitely learn it from someone, right? So life and business, it's not something that you are the very first one who are doing it. People already achieve what you're trying to achieve. And this is what I learned from Richard Dawkins, the author of the book called Selfish Gene. He said, adults who only learn from their own trial and error will always lose to adults who learn from other people's trial and error. So life is very short. If you want to go through every trial and error on your own, it will take a very long time. So the best way to do it is to find mentor for yourself. Even right now that I'm talking to you, I have 4 mentors. So one is only I talk about relationship. One, I only talk about leadership. One, I only talk about wealth. One, I only talk about health. So the questions that you might have is that, why do you need 4? Because I have never met someone who got it all. People are missing it in somewhere, right? So as long as you are really looking forward to find people who already accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, you can fast track this whole process. So you don't need to go through 20 years in order to understand something, when you can learn it from somebody who has already achieved that, yeah? And that's why I always emphasize about reading. Reading is really, really important. And unfortunately, it's so sad that many of the young graduates, they don't read a book. There are some studies that they found, like 83% of the students, after they graduate from university, they don't even read one book. They buy the book, but they don't read. And this is Malaysian actually are like, you know, one of those examples. They love to buy the book for self-development, and then it become a shelf development. You know, it's just gonna go to the shelf, and they never read the book. So when you are reading, you are technically downloading someone's 20 years experience in one place. And that's amazing. So the second one is like, find a mentor. And the third advice that I can give is that pay a lot of attention to goal setting. Goal setting is everything. It's everything. When you set really clear goals for yourself, the goal is not important, but who you become as a result of achieving that goal, that is very important. You see, when I got my PhD in MMU, it took me almost 9 years. Almost 9 years, you know, my PhD, because I was working at the same time. You know, it was really a struggle. I was having 2 small kids, you know, and it was life and work and study at the same time. So the day that I got my PhD, it's not the most important part of it. The most important part is like who you become in order to get that PhD. That is very important. That's very valuable. All the struggles, all the writing, all the research, all the doing the case studies and all those stuff, getting to know some people, and you would be surprised, some of the people that I got to know through that process when I was doing my PhD, now they're becoming my client too. So it's amazing because you are a different person, yeah? So it's really important to set the goals, but not only because of the goal, because of who you become as a result of achieving that goal. The book was not the goal. The goal was like who I needed to become in order to be able to write the book. That's the goal. So all the disciplines that you build through that process, that is basically the most important part of the thing. So goal setting, it's very, very important. So 3 points. Number 1, learn to live and work in control, meaning the love what you do, who you're doing it with, and for, and how. The second one is that find a mentor for yourself in an earlier stage. I am who I am because of my mentors. And the third one is set some clear goal for yourself. So the goal is not important, but who you should become as a result of achieving that goal, that is very important. So I wish to congratulate MMU for working hard for 25 years. And that is a great achievement. And I think at the end of the day, the most important things that the university can do as a whole is to the contribution that we are doing to the society and to the nation. And that is very important. I always believe that the most important things, which is like, it comes back to one of the questions that you ask, is that how you want to be remembered, yeah? So my wish for MMU is that to remember as a place where planted the seeds of greatness in many people's heart, yeah? And I believe that this is not only the responsibility of the MMU as a university, it's the responsibility of the people who are working there, the responsibility of our lecturers and the alumni, the students themselves. You know, we gotta go out and be successful so that the message can go far and far. So I always feel very proud when any of my, for example, like, you know, friends and colleagues or other MMU alumni, they achieve certain things because it brings greatness to everyone. It's like a train, you know, the higher the MMU goes, the higher we're all gonna go together. Because that is something that it happened in the passages in our life, yeah? As a student, like for me, when it was like 2009, I finished my MBA, 2018, I finished my PhD. So that's in the past. So these things, you can't change it. It's going to be there with you. And the higher the MMU goes, so this path will go higher and higher. So we would be more proud of like what we have accomplished, the university that we have completed our master and PhD. And I hope the day will come that we would be much more recognized all around the world. People look at you and say that, hey, where are you graduated from? MMU. It makes everyone feel like, oh wow, I know about that university. And that's my goal too. My goal is to bring this message out there, because I know the higher I'm gonna go, the more international I'm gonna go, it will help to give a better exposure to MMU as well. So we all in it together, we gotta help one another. And at the end, I would like to wish MMU a year full of more accomplishment, more joy, more happiness, more students, and a greater 2022. So thank you very much for listening to us. I really appreciate that. God bless you, God bless MMU, and God bless you 2022.